and teaching this way to do some very difficult things. In my years of working with teachers, asking teachers to teach with problems is perhaps the most difficult thing I've ever asked teachers to do. This is a list that I can't remember where I got it from. Mostly it's probably not mine, but I like it a lot. We need to accept that true growth comes from confronting difficulty rather than being given solutions. That's number one in this list of tough ideas, difficult challenges, because we have to believe that if we let kids struggle, that they will learn. That's counterintuitive to what we went into teaching to do, because we thought we would explain it to kids. We were going to help them. We wanted to, in fact, make it easy for kids rather than to make it hard. Just remember, let me show you, it's easy. Think about what the ramifications of that phrase are. Math makes sense. I have, for 6 years now, 6 years ago I was asked to be on a panel, and the question was, what is the most basic thing in mathematics? What is basic? And that was my answer. That if you believe that math makes sense, then the task is to have kids, not you, but to have kids make sense of mathematics and to learn that they themselves are capable of doing that. We've been talking this afternoon especially about big conceptual ideas rather than atomized things, and I think you want to look for curricula that help you with that, and I think you want to begin to try and think of your objectives in terms of those big ideas. It is absolutely critical that kids give you more than answers, and that kids are the ones who decide whether they are right or wrong. Do not be a yes or no, or yes, that's right, or no, that's wrong person in your classroom. You can virtually abandon ever saying those things again. So the kid says, is the answer 27? You say, why do you think so? How can we tell? And be completely non-judgmental about answers, whether they're right or wrong. Kids should not be able to tell from your deadpan expression whether they are right or not. Kids should be the ones who are making sense of mathematics. We've got to let go of the notion that when a kid is struggling, we're going to fix it for them. I'll remind you again of it's easy, let me show you, and to abandon that. And we have to trust that kids are the ones who are capable of making sense of mathematics. I go back again to your Minister of Education who said that they believe at the ministry that all kids can learn mathematics. I believe this along with NCTM deep down in my toes. Not all kids are going to learn the same. Not all kids are going to learn at the same speed. But all kids can make sense of mathematics. Those of you who teach special children, you do not need special techniques. The ideas that I shared with you today in general terms work for all students. All kids can learn mathematics. All kids can make sense of mathematics. That's all kids, no exceptions. This is one of my favorite quotes from Deborah Shifter and Patty Cosmo. It's actually part of a larger sentence, but I like it like this. No matter how lucidly and patiently we explain to their students, they cannot understand for them. Explaining doesn't work. Ask yourself at the end of the day, how much time did I spend showing and telling? And try and reduce that to nothing. We just don't show and tell. I was asked earlier about how much can we tell. And there is an issue of things you have to tell. I mean, I have to tell kids that the little things on those wedges are called degrees. That's a convention. We call them a degree. If 180 of those angles makes a straight line, then those angles are called degrees by definition. You can't learn that through problem solving. You have to be told. If nobody in my class, after a bunch of time, ever came up with an idea that I thought maybe they ought to see, I maybe could bring into my class and say, I saw this kid the other day, complete with fiction. And he did such and such. Can we make sense of that? And I can bring very cautiously other ideas into the classroom. And the third place where you might think about telling kids is helping kids articulate to each other. Because while we said earlier sometimes kids can talk better to each other than we can. Sometimes they can't. Or sometimes the ideas are a little more difficult, and but the caution here is don't put words in kids' mouths that don't belong there. In other words, make sure that you're expressing the idea that the kid has, not your interpretation of these ideas, because you may be giving more or less credit than you do. So those are ideas that come from a little book called Making Sense by Jim Hebert and 7 other people. They talk about this gray area of what you can tell and what you can't tell. But the quote on the screen is gospel. They're never going to learn from being explained to. They've got to do the figuring out themselves. So once again, believe in kids. They will absolutely flat amaze you. Give them the opportunity to think, and you'll never teach another way again. Thank you very much for your attention.